excited about it as Reagan is?
Is that possible? Let's just start
Well,
there.
first of all, yes, of course. But the answer is no. But how excited are you, Michael, about being part of this ministry and finally having it go public?
You know, we've said for a few years we've noticed a gap, and so we're both very excited.
Yes,
Excellent.
we are.
And it's a great opportunity, and it's a great mission, and we're excited to get it started and get it moving. So.
Well, thank you very much, Michael Saavedra, for taking some time from your lunch break to come join us on our lunch break here.
Yes.
And again, thank you for your service in the Navy. I really, really do appreciate it. God bless you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Love you,
Very
babe.
generous.
Thank you.
And if you would like to honor a veteran in your life, just shout out their name and tell me why they're special to you. Please call right now, 877-757-9424, 877-757-9424. And if you are a veteran, I would love to hear how your military service impacted your Catholic faith, whether that made it more of a challenge that you had to overcome, or if it really kind of, like Michael, made connections for you and was a source of knowledge from the people that you were able to connect with. Call now, 877-757-9424, and tell me about it, because I would love to hear on the Catholic Lunch Break how Houston Catholic veterans are taking care of that. Pop quiz, Reagan.
Yes.
How many branches of the military are there?
5.
What are they?
Coast Guard,
Yeah?
Air Force. I'm looking around like I need to phone a friend. Navy, Army, Marines.
Awesome.
Yes!
Now,
Go America.
which one is the best?
I would have to say not answering that, Tim.
Not answering that. Well,
But happy birthday, Marines,
Happy
today.
birthday, Marines. Okay, Joe McClain of KSHJ fame is a Marine.
Wow.
Yes. And
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you to Joe, who was on the air this morning at 8 a.m. and is now taking a well-deserved vacation. So thank you, Joe. But we've got some prayer breakfast coming up this week. Reagan, are you going to be able to make any of these?
Katy. Tomorrow we're going to be in Katy.
That's right. Okay. The Catholic.
Because which prayer breakfast is the best? Can we have that conversation?
They are all the best.
See? Same
Come
thing.
on.
Same answer.
I love all of my
Katie.
prayer breakfasts. We're up to 6 locations this time. We had 6 locations. We did 2 of them last week and 4 of them this week. So that's 4 prayer breakfasts in a row. I know a lot of you can't make all of them, but David and I, we're going to be at all of them.
Yeah, last week we got a chance to go to Jersey Village, so that kicked off the prayer breakfast season.
Why did you think of that one? Because we were there at Los Cucos on Jones Road, and the speaker, John Cruikshank, was an attorney. What did you think of his talk?
Well, to be honest, I've heard that talk before.
Oh, because he comes from your church.
Yeah. So,
well, then you'll have an informed opinion about it.
No, but it's a really great speech that great witness that he provided, and it just kind of shows to you, the Holy Spirit will work, will work in you, and so I'm very happy for him, and that he was able to make this. Like he called it a reconversion, and so now he's sleeping better at night.
That's good
right?
for him. Yeah, so he was an attorney who was not comfortable with the things that he was being asked to do by his management, even though he's making great money.
I mean, it was legal.
It was legal, yes. But
everything was legal. It's just, there's loopholes that they find.
His job was to exploit loopholes, and he wasn't really doing the best for their workers. And so he asked God really to help make him, get him into a position where he could leave his firm and go work and defend the downtrodden and the innocent. So good for him. And I was really excited to meet Father Vincent Tran. Father Vincent Tran,
he's wonderful.
He is wonderful. He came and led us in prayer, and he was just a joy to get to connect with there. And so I heard from people at the prayer breakfast who were changed. Someone came up to me and said afterwards, and I won't reveal who this is because it was a private conversation, but they said that message from John Cruikshank was a message to them that day because they had a similar decision that they were trying to make. And so it was special. So this is what the Catholic Prayer Breakfast are about, is this networking. We kind of design it around business networking, but anyone is welcome to come. Men, women, whether you're working or not, you could be retired or stay-at-home mom or looking for work. It's a great opportunity to connect with people. We give away some fun door prizes. And and we've got 4 of them coming up this week.
Yeah, we had a good mix. I noticed at Jersey Village. So, I love Jersey Village because I'm only 5 minutes away. That's where I live in that area. So, but I know most of the people there, or at least half the people there. And so I noticed we had a good mix of people because I knew there's quite a few retared people as well.
And from different parishes,
yeah,
too.
I know. I'd asked for their business card, and they said, no, I'm retired. I'm not in that business anymore. So, but anyway, it was a great mix. And like you're saying, not only for business people, but we're also, for moms and retired people. Whatever the message may be that day, it may touch you. And what I liked about John's message is that he shared it with everybody. There was people there that saw that and heard that. Some people don't see it and hear it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, too, about John is that he was obedient.
Right.
And he acted upon that.
Right.
And so that really was a great message. And then from there, you and I got to go to Sugarland on Friday.
Now, Sugarland's my favorite because that's the one closest to my house.
I know.
That's the one we all like, the one closest to our house.
Exactly.
Of course.
But
No,
they're all good.
except for League City. League City's clearly the best. But as anyone in League City will tell you. But Sugarland was wonderful because we had a smaller group there, so everyone got to meet everyone else. And the pastor was Father John Cahoon. Now he goes on these historical kind of vacations with another pastor from that area, and they've been doing this for 30 years together.
Wow.
Where they go on these trips and go to historical sites, especially Revolutionary War historical sites. This time they were in North Carolina, and it was so fun to talk to him beforehand about that. And then our speaker was the parish administrator at St. Lawrence, because he came from the corporate sales world and then brought that experience into stewardship management. Now, stewardship, it's this amazing thing. It's not what you think about just asking for money so that we can fix the roof of the church.
Right.
It's a spiritual way of being that impacts every part of your life, and it's not about the amount. It's about your willingness to say yes to God, just like Mary did at the Annunciation with her fiat. That is what stewardship is in each of our lives. And so, I mean, that kind of stuff is what you get when you come to the Catholic Prayer Breakfast.
So his name was Tony Ultramari.
Yeah, Tony Ultramari, great guy. I like him a lot. If you ever get a chance to meet him, I highly recommend it. But
and he gave us some handouts too. So we got to figure out how to get that to the people.
Yes. I'm planning to use that during our share-a-thon because that was a really good handout.
Okay, good. All right.
So coming up this week, it's $10. You get a buffet breakfast. We arrive at 7 a.m. and we're done in time for you to get to work. If you have to leave early, that's fine. There's no end point where you have to stay to. So it's kind of a very casual environment. We try to be done around 8:30 so that people can continue conversating and networking until 9 o'clock. Or if they need to leave early and take off for work, that's fine. So 7 a.m. is a good time for breakfast. And Tuesday we're going to be in Katy, which was the first one 4 years ago that Joel Matthews was the mover and shaker behind. In Katy, we're doing a panel discussion with kind of a compare and contrast of what it's like to be Catholic at a Catholic business and what it's like to be Catholic at a non-Catholic business. Is that kind of where you're going with this, Joel?
That's exactly right, Tim. What we want people to do is to talk about how their Catholic faith influences what they do at work. And it's very simple and it's very easy for people who actually, if you go to a job where Catholicism is the basis of it, it's very easy to say, hey, I'm Catholic. It's like, it's like a priest walking around a church campus with their collar on. That's where that priest is supposed to be, and you expect them to be.
Of course.
But now take that person or take any of us and put us in a different environment. At what point do we take our faith and stick it in our pocket and hide it over there? Because we don't want to necessarily offend people, because we've been taught, don't talk about, government, God, religion, everything else, when you're in those environments. And the point there is that we want people to be comfortable. We don't want them to walk around with, the papal flag, and screaming and yelling in front of people. But we want them to be comfortable. So if somebody says, hey, not hey, are you Catholic? Here's what I do actually at my office. If you come to my office and I go get a cup of coffee, I love coffee. I got coffee with me right now. I have a cup that Larry Massey gave me, and it's a picture of John Paul II where somebody had put a beret on him and some sunglasses in it, and it's kind of a black and white image. But it doesn't say anything, and it has actually his Polish name at the bottom. and I'm just drinking coffee, and somebody might say, well, who's that? Well, that's John Paul II.
So that's the point of the decision. Do
There you
you
go.
hide it and say, oh, this is just some funny picture? Or do you say, oh, yeah, this was a pope who's now a saint that I really love? Yeah,
There you go.
That is a way to be Catholic at work. So
It's a segue. It's just one of many ways. So I want, not only do I want the panel to talk about it, but inspire the audience to actually think about that.
yeah, that is the biggest thing that we want. And I would say that if you are working in an environment where you do feel pressure to hide your faith, you really need to come to these prayer breakfasts, because this is a place for you to be open. Why not network with other Catholics? Maybe you need a plumber. Why not go to a Catholic plumber? Maybe you need a business maybe you need a supplier for your business. Why not find a Catholic? And this is your starting point for that. It's a place where you can actually feel some release to actually express your faith with people who understand, but are also in the job, in the work environment.
There you go. But I'll put an asterisk on this. You still have to live up to your profession. So whatever you are, just because you're Catholic doesn't mean you get the job or the request. You still have to be a professional.
Well, of course, you got to be good.
All right, I just had to put the asterisk.
You
in
got to
there
be
for
good. Yeah.
Everyone says that. Okay, so that's
you go.
Tuesday. That's just
That's Tuesday.
Tuesday. So Wednesday, I'll try not to spend too much time on these, but Wednesday, this is an exciting one because it's kind of a reboot of the Kingwood location. I don't know if they've had one there in about a year or so. So it's at Hacienda Palomas on Kingwood Boulevard. I know if you go to the website, there was a mistake and someone put Humble instead, but it's actually in Kingwood. Don't worry about the Humble. Just go to the address on Kingwood Boulevard. Hacienda Palomas is a great place. Unfortunately, I'm going to be missing that one because I'm going to be at Holy League. So, David, I'm trusting you to go take charge of that one. You think you can do this, man?
I can do it, but just to be on the safe side, please go out there and help me. So,
Well, I know we've got lots of registrations for Kingwood already, so I know you're going to have a good crowd there. Several people I know have signed up, and I think they're going to help you out. Troy Guy is a great speaker. Now, Reagan, have you heard Troy yet?
I have not heard Troy.
Joel, have you heard Troy? I don't know. He's come to several of our breakfasts, but neither of you have heard him. So Troy Guy is he's a kind of a favorite. He's made I think this might be the third or fourth one that will have spoken at. He's like a nuclear physicist, and so like super smart guy. I think actually he's working in
I've heard about him.
in a space private space agency now, not NASA, but like a NASA adjacent kind of space agency. But his story is of being an anti-Catholic. He was a Baptist anti-Catholic. He would look for every opportunity to argue with Catholics. While he was working with top secret classified information in like an underground bunker in, I think, Colorado, New Mexico or something. But he would drive from his bunker to his home, and there was a monastery that he would pass. And he was just, one day, every time he passed it, something was nagging him. And so eventually he stopped, and a chain of events happened that changed his life. And now he's a Catholic apologist.
Wow.
Doing speaking tours, and he's here in Houston. He's got a great story. That's the Kingwood location on Wednesday. Thursday, where are we going to be on Thursday?
The Woodlands.
The Woodlands. Charlie Balsam, who this is building on a Catholic networking lunch that Father Pat Garrett had started from St. Simon and Jude, and now we're moving it up to breakfast so it can be part of our series here. But the speaker is going to be Charlie Balsam, who was the former director, if I get this right, of the Jason's Deli Leadership
Correct.
Institute.
Right.
And so he's got great stories from the corporate world, again, about how to be a business and still true to your Catholic faith. Jason's Deli is well known for that. And then Friday, everyone's favorite, League City, which always has a great crowd. Kim Brown from the Christian Renewal Center is going to be the speaker there, and I've had plenty of chances to converse with her. She is absolutely a delight. You're going to love her. That's at Esteban's Fiesta Shack on Main Street in League City, I think.
I think so.
Yeah,
right.
just look it up on the website. All that information is available, and you can register. It's only $10, grnonline.com.
And then, just to add and finish off on the prayer breakfast, so for people out there that maybe need to get energized of who they are and what they're doing, and how does this relate to work, try to attend one of these because our speakers so far have been fantastic, and I can't wait to see the rest of them this week. there may be a chance where one of these will be speaking to you, and it may answer questions that you may have. And so I kind of look at it that way as well, that it's kind of an energizing takeaway that you're around fellow Catholics. We're talking about our faith. We have somebody speaking up there on a witness and providing their story that may touch you. So if you need that energy and kind of worry about, work and how's this all going to work out, try to attend one of these, and I think you'll be touched.
Yes. Okay, so again, grnonline.com is the website, and you can find the big picture of the lady and the priest having breakfast there.
Oh, yeah.
Just click on that. You got all the details for your location or several locations if you want to come. It's only $10. If you sponsor a table for $250, you get a few extra perks for your business there. Maybe a little bit of extra recognition on the air, which could help your business out. So that really kind of goes a long way towards making these financially viable for us. We're not trying to make money off of this. This is purely community building. And so if you're able to sponsor a table at any of these, that goes a long way towards helping us out. grnonline.com. And we're going to be going to a break here and coming back to talk with President Paul Beck from the Cristo Rey Jesuit High School.
Atomic bombs?
Sorry.
Go for it, man. Break and go.
Atomic bombs, spies, and tacos? Join us at the Catholic Prayer Breakfast as Troy Guy, a nuclear engineer and former Baptist, shares how he discovered the Catholic Church among atomic bombs and spies. Come and network with others on Wednesday, November 13th, 7 to 9 a.m. at Hacienda Palomas Mexican Restaurant in Kingwood. All are welcome. Register today at grnonline.com.
This is Adrian Fonseca from Annunciation Catholic Church. The Guadalupe Radio Network is coming up on our annual Share-a-thon on December 3rd through the 6th. Please pray for your Catholic radio station. Nothing is more important than your prayers, so please lift up 3 Hail Marys for us today and keep us in your prayers. May the Sacred Heart of Jesus have mercy on us, and the Immaculate Heart of Mary keep us. Pray for us this Share-a-thon on December 3rd through the 6th. God love you.
You need a date night. Am I right or am I right? Hi, Joe McClain here, and I am so blessed to be the master of ceremonies at this year's Regina Caeli Priest Talent Show and Fundraiser Gala, and I want you to be there with me. Dinner, drinks, show, auction, and so much more. I mean, priest, talent, it's going to be a great night. Saturday, November the 16th, in the Christus Center of St. Ignatius of Loyola. Log on to rcahybrid.org for all the details.
Gratia Plena, a faith-based nonprofit organization in the greater Houston area, is offering mental health services to refugees or recent immigrants from Venezuela. Gratia Plena will send a counselor to St. Faustina Catholic Church in Fulshire on Thursdays for the rest of the year. Services are provided by walk-in or appointment and will be offered at low or no cost. For more information, visit Gratia Plena online at gratiaplenacounseling.org.
You're listening to the Catholic Lunch Break on AM 1430 KSHJ. My name is Tim Mott, the host, and joined by David Magallanes and Regan Saavedra. David, we have sports reports that you are able to put together featuring Catholic high schools and college preparatory schools from all over Houston, including one that I hear a lot. I love the way you say it with a Hispanic accent, even though I know you don't speak too much Spanish anymore.
Sorry, I need to turn on the mics.
There you
go. So, I not fluent, but I can kind of get by.
So let's see if we get any of those with today's sports report. Hit it, man.
Okay. Hey, Dave the Sports Guy here, rolling out your Catholic high school sports report for the Houston area. So let's go for the first down and go with boys football. Straight Jesuit Crusaders walloped A-Leaf Taylor Lions. And in a big rivalry game, St. Thomas Eagles defeated St. Pius X Panthers for its second straight undefeated district championship. And now for girls volleyball and the playoffs. St. John, the 23rd Lions, lost to Tomball Concordia in the regional round, and Duchesne Chargers and St. Pius X Panthers lost in the area round. And now for the state finals, St. Agnes Tigers defeated Plano Prestonwood to win the TAPS 6A state championship. Congratulations to the St. Agnes volleyball team, coaches, and community for a great season and winning the state championship. And that's a wrap of this week's Sports Report for the week of November 4th. Keep your radio tuned to AM 1430 for next week's recap of Houston's Catholic high school sports. And follow me on Twitter at Dave Sports Guy. And now back to you, Tim.
No, I didn't hear the one
I
I was
know, well,
listening
yeah, I
for.
know.
I wanted to hear it.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
So, we love to say Cristo Rey and
Cristo Rey, Christ
Cristo-
the King. That's the one that always stands out to me. And joining us in the
love it.
studio right now is President Paul Beck of the Cristo Rey College Preparatory School, Cristo Rey Jesuit. Mr. Beck, thank you very much for for joining us here on the Catholic Lunch Break.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Now, is it Mr. Beck or Dr. Beck or President Beck? What's the best way to
Just call me Paul.
call you Paul?
Just call me
works well.
Paul.
Okay, great. Well, so let's get to know you a little bit before we jump in really to the topic. Are you, well, what's your background? Are you a native Houstonian?
No, I'm not. I actually grew up in the Texas Panhandle and kind of made my way down here through school. Been married for 30 years.
Congratulations.
My wife,
Awesome.
Carol, almost 30 years. December 9th is our date, so I need to plan that, actually.
Oh,
Figure out how I'm
good
gonna do that.
reminder. Good reminder. Now we're holding you to it on the air.
That's right. And we have my wife Carol and I have four children. So our oldest is getting married in 2 weeks. That's been kind of a hamper on the 30-year anniversary celebration, but we're really, really happy about that.
That's wonderful.
Congratulations.
Yeah, celebrating the 0-year anniversary for them. So,
That's right.
Now, what do you like to do in your spare time? Are you any hobbies that?
Yeah, not a lot of spare time.
Spare time. What's that?
I kind of, I've done a lot of coaching. So all four kids have been really active in sports. And when I was applying for Cristo Rey, I thought, well, I had to stick that on my resume. I hadn't done a resume in 30 years. So as I was pulling that together, and I counted 38 youth sports teams that I had coached.
Really?
That ended up eating up a lot of my time. But it
So,
was,
like
it was
different
wonderful
different
grace.
sports, or one in particular?
Started out with I had 2 boys and then 2 girls. So it started out with baseball, and then that kind of gravitated to softball. But we also had basketball and soccer along the way as well.
Ah,
Coached quite a bit
nice.
of
Yeah.
soccer.
So David actually coaches basketball over at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. With your,
I coach the girls basketball team, so
All right.
I know what you're talking about, all the different sports, and just I'll have to do that one day. I'll have to count up how many sports teams
You'd
I've
be
coached.
surprised.
Yeah, it adds up, I guess.
adds up over the years. So you were saying that when you were applying for the job, how new are you at Cristo Rey?
So I started in July.
You
of
started
this year.
in
So
July.
Wow.
Your
Yeah.
first semester at the school.
First semester at the school. The background is I was actually a petroleum engineer for many, many years ago, and then went back to school and got my MBA and went into oil and gas, finance, and investments. So I've been doing that for about 30 years. And
Okay.
then Holy Spirit interjected in my life and called me and said, this is an opportunity here at Cristo Rey. And I went through a lot of prayer and discernment and decided this is what I need to do and this is where I need to be.
Okay.
So made the leap over to academia.
Talking about career changes, so from a petroleum engineer to finance specialist to school president. That's a big leap right there. Now, so you said God was working on your heart. What was it that made you hear that call? Like what was it about going into academia that drew you?
I have to say it was the kids at the end of the day. It was the students. I mean, the ability to interact with people and affect their lives directly. What I was doing before it was a very good thing, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Of course.
But I didn't have that day-to-day intervention and the ability to affect people's lives in a positive way. So this was kind of reaching out to me as something that I lacked in my life, and it's actually come. It's come about that way, so it's been a wonderful grace for me.
Okay, so from July through to November, how has your experience been so far? What's it like?
So it's just awesome. We have 530 students down there at Cristo Rey Jesuit, and these students are they are all trying to change their life. If you're not familiar with our model, the Cristo Rey model is exclusively for low-income families. So it's a private school for low-income families. And all of our students, all 530 of them, work in the community. So we have 157 companies that we've partnered with throughout Houston, companies like Chevron and MD Anderson and Vincent and Elkins, and the list goes on and on. We take our students every day, we bus them to their workplace. One class goes out every day. So freshmen, Well, the seniors go out on Monday,
Okay.
and then the freshmen go out on Tuesday, the sophomores on Thursday, and then the juniors go out on Thursday, and then they'll rotate Friday. So one day a
Okay.
week
So everyone's in class 4 days a week, right? And working one day.
they work one day, they're in class the other 4 days. So they are going to a office, they're working, doing professional work, generally entry level work, but they're working with people like you and I. And the wonderful thing about them is because they're from low income families, they're not generally aware of these kinds of companies and these offices, these glass towers downtown that they drive by all their life. Now they're being invited into them, and they're being embraced by people who are generally college educated. All of our students, almost all of them, are first time. Their parents have not attended college, so they will be first time college attendees. So they work with people who've attended college, and they're loved by people and embraced by people, and they're mentored by these people. So one of the things I always like to tell these companies when we're talking to them is it really is a two-sided street. And the company I worked for 10 years preceding, making the switch over to Cristo Rey Jesuit, was a sponsor. It's a company called Macquarie Group. And we had over 400 people in our office, and every one of them were aware of our students, and they were proud of them. It truly was a two-sided street where the students were giving back as much as they were receiving, and they all work. They work hard.
I bet.
They're great workers.
Well, it's an opportunity that I hope they really appreciate.
So let me ask you, what kind of effect do you see in these students? I would assume their confidence is raised. I would assume their, what have you seen in them?
So
what kind of change?
That is a key thing, is the self-confidence, because they're just, to be able to, they're going to graduate from high school with 4 years of professional work experience on their resume, which is very rare.
We could all benefit from that. I would have.
But if you think about it, this low-income demographic, to go to college and then graduate from a 4-year university, the percent of that happening is 8%.
Wow.
Virtually nil. So, and you couple that with the fact that 80% of the students in the Houston Independent School District fall in this demographic.
Oh, wow.
Which was a surprise to me. You couple that with the fact that 75% of the jobs, and this is a Kinder Institute study that came out last year, that 75% of the job offers that will be made next year in the city of Houston will require a post-secondary education. So you add all that up, and it doesn't really compute. You kind of see a slow train wreck happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're trying to change. We're taking this demographic. Our students now, because we are starting our 11th year, so they are actually cycling through their 4-year college experience. We've got 2 classes out, and we're at about a 50% graduation rate.
Wow, that's amazing.
50%, which is 6 times the national average, but I promise you that in percentage will increase as we continue to kind of tweak our systems and improve some of our academics. We're targeting 75% and higher. And that changes not only our students' lives. We have 700 students that are alumni now. Every one of them got accepted into college when they graduated.
That's
and
amazing.
like I said, the ones who who have been in school long enough, half of them have graduated. But it also affects the larger, their family, their siblings, their cousins, their neighbors. So this whole, you just feel the leverage that the school provides to the greater community. And it makes a huge difference with this demographic.
So the other thing too that I've noticed and went through myself. So it's so beyond high school. So it's another 4-year impact of. You mentioned they get accepted into college because of this great opportunity that they have working and stuff. But also, as they get into college, they start applying for internships during their career in college. That looks great on your resume that you've worked in the past and you've worked at these big, great companies. And then as you graduate after 4 years in college, that looks great on your resume that you've been able to work these internships. And that just puts you on a higher level of being interviewed, being made job offers, and then you're able to select which job you want to go to.
That's right. And they don't necessarily work at the same company all 4 years. So they may start out working in a law office and then want to try, a medical profession, so they'll go work in at MD Anderson or at the Baylor College of
Anyone
Medicine.
looking at radio stations, maybe?
Well, hey, we're open.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
We're open. No.
Catholic radio.
But it gives them the chance to, and we have banks, and the list goes on. We have a lot of industries, and so they get to kind of test the waters. But some of them go to work for one type of industry, and they stay there. Like we had a student, Tanya, last year, who graduated, who worked at Latham Watkins for 4 years, wants to become an attorney. She got accepted to Brigham Young, and full ride at Brigham Young.
Wow.
And then they've gone out and said, listen, if you apply for our law school, we're going to give you a scholarship to our law school. And I can tell you, those law schools
impressive.
are really expensive, and it's rare that you get scholarships into law school. So that kind of story is one of the things I love, and the impact that we can make for.
Okay, so where do these students come from to you? Like we're talking about where you've sent them. Where do you get your students from?
So. Geographically, they come. Our school is located just north of Hobby Airport.
Okay.
So within a 5-mile radius, about half of our students come from that area, and then the rest are from all over Houston. So some of them are commuting from quite a distance to get to our school.
Mm-hmm.
The schools that we recruit out of, or that we receive students out of, so all the inner city parishes are big contributors to our enrollment, as well as a number of public schools in that area.
Now you said that you're part of the Cristo Rey kind of system. You're not a standalone school of your own. This Jesuit system of schools all over the country, right?
So let me explain that.
That would be great.
So there's the Cristo Rey Network, which is a separate entity. It's a separate 501c3. There's 37 schools in that network. Each school stands on its own. And some of them are Jesuit sponsored. So the original one, which is Pilsen in Chicago, was a Jesuit school, or is a Jesuit school. And I don't know the count. I think it's about 7 of the 37 are Jesuit sponsored schools. So we're obviously Catholic, obviously Jesuit sponsored, but we are affiliated with the network in that the network has set up the standards, the protocols to be a Cristo Rey school. Mm-hmm. And the primary one is obviously Catholicity,
right? And
the second is the second protocol is the income level. If your family makes more than a certain amount of money, which is a poverty level line, then you're not eligible to attend our school.
Okay, so you're part of the Cristo Rey system, and you are sponsored by Jesuits here. How was the school founded? You said 11 years ago.
So it was founded by a priest by the name of T.J. Martinez, who actually had God, how do you describe T.J.? He had a number of degrees. He went to Boston College for his undergraduate. He went to UT to get a law degree. He was at Harvard getting a master's in academics, and that's when the Jesuits tapped him on the shoulder and said, "We'd like you to start a new Cristo Rey school in Houston." We were the first school in the South, and I think number 20 in the network at the time.
Okay.
So he came here. He grew up actually in the Valley in Brownsville. So he was a Texan at heart, and he had actually worked at Dallas Jesuit. So had been in education. But he came here, and he was an amazing person, and he had great vision. He had great faith. One of the things I always love to hear about Father Martinez, when people talk about him, everybody felt like he was their best friend, or he made people feel that way. But he just had great energy, and so he started the school 11 years ago, and then he ran it and led it for about 5 years, and then tragically contracted stomach cancer and passed away.
Oh man!
And that's when Paul Pasoli stepped in. So Paul preceded me. Paul came from J.P. Morgan. He was the head of their trading businesses. So he was a senior executive, and very similar to me. When Father Martinez had been when they found out about his illness, the board asked Paul if he would step in on an interim basis, and he not only agreed to be an interim president, but then he later held up his hand to be the permanent president. So he ran the school for 5 years.
That's impressive. And now you're the third president of Cristo Rey.
I'm the third, yeah.
And so Paul Pasoli came from a corporate world as well, just like you did. moving from corporate to academia. What does it take to keep a school like this running if you're probably not getting a lot of tuition from the students?
So that's true. Every one of our students are on scholarship, and most of them pay about $25 a month. So it's not a lot of tuition. So half of our budget comes from our corporate work study partners. And our budget is just shy of $8 million a year. So half of that comes from them. And then we have a small sliver of money that comes from our tuition. And then the rest we raise every year.
You have to raise that money. And the corporate sponsors. That's a very interesting model. Do you think that it's duplicable on a bigger scale, or is this something where you really have to keep it small and focused for it to work?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the point of saturation that I am starting to observe is really the corporate partners. There are so many companies that can employ, starting level students, interns. And at a point, those are harder and harder to find. So, but we haven't hit that limit yet.
Okay.
But so we do have room to grow our school.
So you've got room to grow. So maybe beyond that 530, what's the limiting factor? Is it space? Is it people? Is it money? Is it what is it?
So we do have limited space.
Of course.
We will be growing our building at some point, our physical plant, and then once again, it is those jobs, those partnership jobs that we have. So we have 157 now. I don't know at what point you're not able to get any more, but
yeah. Well, you'll find it eventually.
Probably not an infinite number, but we've been very blessed. Houston
just like the loaves and fishes. I mean, God can provide. If you're faithful to that vision. It sounds like Father TJ is the kind of guy who really was faithful to a strong vision. And was courageous enough to go and pursue it, and you were courageous enough to make that transition to academia. But so how is the Jesuit spirituality, the Catholic spirituality expressed there at Cristo Rey, and do you think those students are brave enough to follow it?
I do. So it is part of our curriculum. We have a theology class. And they are taught Ignatian spirituality from day one all the way through, where you're committed to justice, you're religious, you're loving, and you're intellectually competent. And then we add to those pillars of Ignatian pedagogy, the corporate work study, you're available and ready to work. But no, it's an important part of our school. It's the foundation of our school, and we have two wonderful priests that are there today.
Who are the priests?
Father Randy Gibbons and Father Mario Torres.
Great. I'm trying to interview priests from every church here in Houston, so maybe we'll get some school priests on there as well. How often does school have Mass?
So we have a school-wide Mass once a month, and then Father Torres and Father Gibbons have a daily Mass every day.
I saw that on the website. That was impressive to me. So one of the things I hear you really saying through this story is the Lord has given a huge opportunity to heal generations through the work of your school. And I think that to me is what's most heartwarming, because younger siblings are looking up to older siblings who are going through this process, this journey, and that inspires them, and the inspiration that it gives to their parents and their grandparents, and just thinking about the overall. So it's more of a thank you than a question, but thank you for your example and your witness and your willingness to be in the trenches, and to the high number of students that you're able to bless and serve and give a whole new perspective on life.
Yeah,
I think it's beautiful.
Thank you for saying that. I will say that the school is staffed by a wonderful faculty and staff. They're amazing people, and that's where the real thanks need to go. There are a lot of people that have been there a lot of years, and they work hard. And I'm blessed to be part of that group.
I admire teachers so much. I could never do it.
Me too. Me too.
So, Dr. Beck, I would love to see the GPS tracker of those buses that are taking the kids everywhere every day. I would love to see that map. So, but I know you have other activities going on. They're not all of them have a job, but you have a pretty good sports program as well, right?
It's really amazing. This is one of the things that Paul Pasoli did that I remember when he started really pushing the athletics. I thought, God, how do those students have as much? Because we have to pack a high school curriculum into a 4-day week, right?
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
True.
So students are showing up at 7:15, and then their last class ends at a little after 4. And then they're going to, their athletics or their club. So we have 21 sports teams in the school, and that was one of the things
Wow.
Paul really pushed. But it's been wonderful because it makes the school, it gives that school the energy that it needs, makes it more normalized, if you will. We're not this special school. And our athletic teams are competitive. They played in the Christian Athletic League for a number of years now. We've moved into TAPS. So we're playing against some of the big boys.
So if you run across your coaches, tell them, I do announce their scores every week, and maybe we'll get a chance to get the athletic director here one day. And if a parent is listening, so you offer so much, right? So how can you put that in 3 or 4 sentences for a parent that you're offering all this great stuff, but yet it's still a high school. You still have that high school sense, and the pride of the kids. And for me, it was athletics, so it's kind of a bonding time. And so what would you tell a parent that, is kind of thinking about this, had never heard of Cristo Rey before, but in a little bit of time that we have, what would you tell them,
Sure, I would say when you consider the alternatives, you can go to a school, a standard high school, not a private school, if you have, if you're a low-income family, and what the odds are of completing, high school and then entering college and getting a college degree. So with us, it's significantly higher. And then you have the differentiating factors of our religious component and our Ignatian component and of our corporate work study program, where your child will complete high school with 4 years of professional experience, and they will be truly a man and a woman for others, because that is the Jesuit code. And it, at the end of the day, it's amazing when you meet these seniors. When you meet them as freshmen and they come in and they're all scared and intimidated, and then when you meet them when they're seniors, they're confident, incredible confidence, and you just that they're going to be successful in life. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I love that story. So it's we've been blessed, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Here in Houston, we have that opportunity. So thank you.
It's an absolute inspiration. Where can people learn more? What's the best way for them to learn more about the school?
Go to our website, which is,
I looked it up. It's Cristo Rey Jesuit, CristoReyJesuit.org, and that's Cristo, the Spanish spelling, Cristo, Rey, R-E-Y, for Christ the King, CristoReyJesuit.org. But what should they look for on the website?
So on the website will tell you everything about the school, and
good.
then we're also on Facebook and we're on Instagram, and right now we're actually recruiting. So we are recruiting for next year's freshman class.
Great.
So there are links to our admission process, and we'd love for people to consider us, because once again, we're trying to find really good students that want to change their lives, change the trajectory of their lives.
Okay, so CristoReyJesuit.org if you would like to learn more about that, and maybe consider having your student go there. President Paul Beck of Cristo Rey Jesuit, thank you very much for joining us here on the Catholic Lunch Break.
Thank you, Tim. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Hey, Reagan, this is just exciting to be able to do this each week. How are you enjoying your time on the air here?
I love it. I look forward to it. I'm so excited to learn more about what's happening in our archdiocese.
Yes.
And the resources and the amazing things that God is doing.
Well, God is doing a lot of amazing things in the Houston Archdiocese, and I think that this radio station, hopefully this radio show, can be a hub to connect the whole city together so that Catholics from all over will know what's going on, not just in their parish, but in other parishes and other parts of the city. And we really are one body of Christ. And so if one person is doing something in one part of town, that really affects the rest of us, whether we know it or not.
Amen.
And so we want you to know it by listening here to AM 1430. We're going to be back next Monday with more from the Catholic Lunch Break. And in the meantime, I want you to listen to Dr. Ray Garendi every day at noon. The coming up next is Dr. David Anders with Called to Communion, And Dr. David Anders is a program where he's a convert himself. And you were saying that converts, they tend to know a lot because they had to research. Well, he's like an encyclopedia in his own head. He's Mr. Catholic Google, and so you ask him the toughest question, and he's got an answer right off the top of his head. So this is a great program, especially for someone who has arguments against the Catholic Church. Their tagline is, what's stopping you from becoming Catholic? Because that is the question that we all have to ask. God is calling all of us to be Catholic, and so we have to answer that call. So my name is Tim Mott, and I'm the general manager here at AM 1430. I'll see you next week for the Catholic Lunch Break on AM 1430. God bless you.